this
It's
inverter was
extremely difficult
engineered by our
to
staff,
get a
along with the
robot
staff
to work on
or
these
the
units
engineering
out
staff
in the
of the
field.
company that actually makes it, only
They have
for
to
these washing
redesign
machines.
the way the machine is
That's a
made in
critical
order for a
part to
robot to
understand. This
actually
doesn't
work
get
on them.
used
So
anywhere else in the world. It's only
we've
for
got a good
Alliance
20
products.
years.
So it's designed
I
specifically
don't.
for
but
that. Other manufacturers
we
take
got a
a
good
drive
20
off
years.
the shelf, so to speak. Inverter drives are used for stuff like elevators, escalators, conveyor belts. Not this one. It's only for our washer extractors. So along with that, in this particular section, understanding what smart balance is. We kind of talked about it a little bit early on. But from a commercial standpoint, having a drive that's specific to that motor for this machine, we can get really good looks at how the machine is loaded. The worst thing we can have in a washer extractor as far as is machine longevity or damage to the machine, so to speak, was when we have underloading, chronic underloading. Customers only put in about a half a load. That's like the worst thing for this unit when it goes into spin, because no load is going to perfectly balance unless it's pretty full. But the advantage to having our inverter, or this inverter, is we can actually, the inverter can actually read that cylinder during distribution and pick up on when the load is being lifted and dropped and kind of feel that actually. And it actually can come up with a percentage of how much it's out of balance. And towards the end of the spin, when we go up to that maximum spin speed, we can actually reduce that a little bit to make sure we give our customer the best extract available, but also not to beat up our machines. So that, combined with just how strong our frame and bearing housing is, really adds to the life of the machine. Maintaining the commercial quality aspect of things. This is something that I get a little amped up on because I'm a huge fan of our door lock, and I've seen a lot of other stuff, and I've seen competitor stuff, and maybe even some of the super old machines out there. This door lock assembly has basically been the same since the early 80s. And it's really simple. We're going to get to a part here in a little bit where we're going to break down these parts and understand what each one does. Once you do that, you're going to feel real comfortable with it and understand that the simplicity of it is what adds and lends to its ruggedness. It's the #1 safety feature on any machine that we produce. We want to make sure it works, but we want to make sure it's easy to understand and serviceable as well. So I think, what do we got coming up here? Another poll from our friend Dustin. What does he got going on here? What do you got, Dustin?
We have a poll.
Oh, we do.
Yeah. There is a poll. So this is just a quick little poll here, just to see if you guys could guess when we redesigned our bearing housing. When do you think this was? Take a guess. You think it was 2008, 2012, 2016? When do you think the year was when we most recently designed our bearing housing?
When do you want to periodically check for lint accumulation on the motor and vacuum it away? We talked about this with tumblers for those of us here last week. It happens on washer extractors too. Those louvers are meant to remain open to allow air in while the machine motor turns,
preventive maintenance,
to cool the motor. It's nothing too scientific there. We're not going to do too much damage if we don't clean those, because eventually the machine's going to go, this isn't safe, and it's going to produce an error code. We'll talk about that. I actually have a drain valve here in my home office, and I'm going to turn my camera on and talk about, like, for starters, like cleaning and inspecting it. That's as good a look as I can give you that's on your screen right now, like the 3D rendering of it. This is the motor. This is the gearbox, and then that turns the internal portion, which we call.
This is one of the best parts for you guys right here.
I'm going to stop showing my screen, and I'm going to turn on my camera. See if anybody can see. Yeah, okay, there we are. So here is that drain valve. A little backwards from what you just saw. But when we've energized the drain valve, there's your ball that would come down. I can't quite do it all the way. But one thing I wanted to mention here, while we can take a good view, is here is the spring right inside here. I'm topping it on top that brings the ball back as it should. And then also there's a white ring inside here where the ball actually meets up to. That's a seal. Until recently, the maker of this drain valve, Dependo, this was all one part. If we had trouble here, we basically had to change the valve body or the whole valve assembly itself. But we have made it so, or they have made it so, that we can remove 4 screws on the corners here. We can actually give this about a quarter twist and pull it right off. And now I can access that seal. So we can, if this gets damaged by stuff like anything small and rigid, we always talk about this, the number one culprit.
Yeah, so this is kind of really important when it comes in terms of commercial quality. Like making a change like this virtually has no benefit to us in the manufacturing process.
Right.
But it has a huge impact when you're replacing these in the field, because you have to buy a tiny rubber seal instead of buying an entire assembly. And that makes a big difference to your bottom line when you're trying to, you know, when you make money quarter by quarter.
Right. And it also cuts down on your downtime, because this is a pretty easy fix. This is the hose that goes to the outer tub. So we take that hose off, take these 4 screws off, and boom, we're right where we need to be. So just wanted to show that. A lot of people weren't aware of that, and that's why we took the time to do that. For God's sake, let me turn this camera off. No one needs to see that anymore today. Okay. Okay. Cleaning the soap dispenser. So this video plays kind of fast. We might play it a couple times here, but I'm going to try and keep up because I'm, you know. All right. So you can see I'm going to remove the deflectors in the back just by pulling them forward and pulling them up. Now I've got it's readily accessible inside those compartments. So water has to flow to a certain level in the back there before it reaches the siphoning point and goes down. So we want to make sure right here, see how I'm cleaning the inside of those tubes. Make sure that those are clean. Can I go back and play that one more time? I think I can.
You just have to hit backwards and forwards one more time.
Just like that. Just so we can see again. So those deflectors, I just pull them forward and pull them up. I got a little bit of water on side. Some people have commented today that, yep, that's what they do. They use a toothbrush, whatever. It's just tough to get a toothbrush down these siphon ports in the rear portion of the, for those of us.
That's important.
Yeah, it's got to get clean. Otherwise it won't go down. You have water left over. So yeah.
Cool.
The last thing here, just showing you, we looked last week at how to clean a coin drop. I just want to show you how to remove it from a washer extractor. Here we've got the top off, disconnect the harness. And there are 2 7/16" nuts, a lot like the, you know, I wonder if I'll ever be able to pronounce that. 7/16" nuts, nylon nuts.
7/16" nuts.
It's not easy.
Yeah, okay, if you say so.
So anyway, that's what it takes to get that out of there. When I've got that out, I can assess it. If there's nothing bent on it, is it full of lint? Dustin and I have gone through this a few times in presentations, and Dustin's learned that we never ever want to lubricate the coin drop.
Oh, people used to do it when I worked in sales all the time to their machines. And
what was the result then when they did that?
It works initially, but very quickly will gather all the funk that it can, whether that's lint or funk from the quarters that are sliding through it, and eventually will have buildup, and you have a much worse scenario than you did before. So there's no such thing as lubricating a coin drop.
Clean it with vacuum. If it's got anything in it. But the biggest thing that happens to these is people start jamming stuff inside them. We got to be mindful of that. If you see somebody doing that, they can't do that. They're, you know, as you take them apart and compare them to other ones that are working, that's the best way to understand if there's something wrong with that drop.
That's news to me on
The last
lubricating
thing
a
here, I've
quench.
made a special trip to Ripon during the pandemic here to film this last part. It's that critical, and I didn't realize like the lack of education on the field, and that's our fault, and that's why we're doing this kind of thing. And I want you to understand.
This video is from
20, 30, 40.
This is the
2021, by the
question
way.
that Gene asked as well. So I
Okay.
purposely didn't interrupt, knowing that this was going to be coming up.
Good. So,
But now I interrupted to talk about
you
it.
I just screwed it up. 20s, 30s, 40s, and 60s are a sealed bearing. That big bearing we looked at in the back, the two bearings. Whereas the larger capacity, it's a different bearing. It's a different ball game. There's a lot going on, a lot more weight, a lot more cylinder velocity, a lot more G-force. So we got different bearings that require maintenance. 80s and 100s need to be lubricated every month or every 200 hours of usage. So in this model here, I think it's 100. I'm just pulling the top off. And here I've got a grease gun with a Zerk fitting. On the machine, connect to that, I give it 2 full strokes, and those tubes go all the way down to the back of the machine to the bearing. I remember doing this live and in person out in the field or in a classroom setting, and people looking at me as if maybe they hoped I was joking. This is it's the most critical thing you have to do in maintenance on your big machines. And I guess, over time, big machines like this have become more and more popular. I was actually at a store in Chicago about a year and a half ago that had 12 80-pounders in it. So it's not a thing, this is picking up speed. So if you got any 80s, 100s, please take note, take care of it. So to finish out our preventative maintenance section here, we got our friend Crystal here showing us some examples of cleaning. Take a picture of that and send it to her right now because she doesn't know we're using her photos.
You should.
I'm doing it right now. What we do here with Dustin and I like to do, just kind of get some realistic feel going on here, some interaction from you folks, is we learn a lot when we ask people, well, what do you do to clean your stainless steel? What do you do to make sure your soap dispenser stays clean? Like, this isn't something Dustin and I really delve in because we don't work in a functioning laundromat.
We don't run laundromats.
Right. So in the question section, if you could please just chime in with, like, example. Dustin and I learned this morning, somebody has really good luck with, what was that product called? Sheila Shine. Like, they have really good luck with it.
It sounds like a grandmother's name, doesn't it?
Yeah. Or like a bad, like, mascara or something, or yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we learned that. I never heard that before.
Yeah. So with stainless steel, what's most important, Andy?
Remember that stainless steel, when it's dry, quote unquote, or when it's raw.
Let me see what else.
But we're going to errors.
Here we go.
We need to consider our source. Like, where's the water coming in? The chance that there's something wrong with the actual machine is probably the last thing you look at. Like, the valve itself has a malfunction.
Have any of you
probably
guys
like
seen
a low
this
percentage.
Any
Whereas
of
if
these
you got a
webinars?
kinked hose,
Let me know.
clogged screens. If you walk in one day and one whole bank says EFL, chances of the machines each having a problem at the same time are absolutely, 1 in a billion.
Yeah.
We have a supply problem. So keep that in mind. It's all about water getting into the machine during a fill step in an allotted amount of time. If it doesn't get there, we can produce these error codes. Now with current production, like since 2018, they've also added this error code where it says no water was detected within 5 minutes. Like, that's like the worst case scenario, like the water's completely turned off. Like somebody turned the water off or the faucet off, which does happen. That produces phone calls for us as well. But things to think about. It all generates from where the water comes in and why it doesn't get there fast enough. That's EFL. Opposite side, looking at drain errors. EDR was the one we looked at first. That's a drain error, meaning the washer extractor did not completely drain within the programmed amount of time. 5 minutes, or excuse me, yeah, I think 5 minutes is default, which is crazy. In the old days, before electronic controls, timer model machines, when I was out in the field, we would power up the machines, fill them, and then go hit the circuit breaker. That machine should drain in 30 seconds or less. So, you know, if you're getting EDR, we got to start looking at all the drain plumbing, the drain valve itself. When I say drain plumbing, I'm talking internal to the machine. But also after that, if we have what I call a closed system where all the drains come together in a one pipe and go out, if we get EDRs periodically across the board, we have a drain problem in the facility. So just like the slow fill, we also have a slow drain error, but take a look at what it says here. If a slow drain is detected during a drain step, the control will light the most right decimal points. When you look at your front end control where it displays your price and or time, on the bottom, there's decimal points between each of these 7 segment digits. And all the way right, if you ever see that on any of your machines, what the hell does that mean? It's just kind of warning you, hey man, we went through and this last couple drain steps have been a little sluggish in comparison to before. It's basically warning you, hey, there could be something in this drain.
Hey, do me a favor and hit the like button. I got about 12 likes so far.
Something between the tubs or something wrong with the plumbing that we might need to investigate before it turns into an EDR. So getting more intuitive, better for us operators to interpret issues down the road. So those first 2 were in reference to getting rid of water, but let's remember that the drain valve is also responsible for holding water during a fill step and an agitation step. So we also got this error called ELD, and it's a leak detection error saying that the pressure sensor detects a decrease in the water level after it's reached a programmed fill level. So this most likely indicates that the drain valve seal is leaking. What we're saying, we get to the fill level, okay, commence the timing, and while it's washing, the sensor sees the water levels going down, the pressure is decreasing. That tells us that that seal is letting a little bit of water out. That's a bad one because it sucks because if we get to a certain threshold, like the wash machine will actually add more water to it, which means we basically filled up with water. It's just leaking out the drain needlessly. And you're wasting water. You're literally might as well take the hose off the faucet and just run the water down the drain. So again, for a user standpoint, it's getting easier, but it's also getting more efficient.
I forgot to include the guys from
EDL
Instagram.
or door lock troubleshooting. This is where we're moving to next. And my goal here with this, I'm going to show a video and I'm going to show a slide. My goal is just strictly education on how it works. If I do this right, you'll have the tools to understand how to look for EDL issues on your own. So let's start with a video that shows operation of all of the circuitry in the door lock. And before I play the video, though, I want us to understand that there are 2 very distinct, different circuits in the door lock. There's a door closed circuit and there's a door locked circuit.
This isn't me. This is him with the black
screen. They generate different error codes and different notifications, so to speak. So the first thing getting going here, hold on.
There we go.
The door actually has a magnet on it, and on that front panel, that black bezel, that's a magnetic reed switch, just proving that, okay, the door, the actual door ring and everything is close to closed. When I turn the handle, there's a cam on the inside of the handle that actually hits a lever and makes another door closed switch. So the switch on the front panel and the switch on the bottom of the lock assembly are just proof that the door is closed. We would never start a cycle unless we were sure that the door was closed. Then when we decide it's closed and the user presses the start button, this lock solenoid is going to push a pin across into the receiver of the backside of that handle.
Bam.
And that's our mechanical locking. But look what else happens when we do that. Simultaneously, we make a switch on the top called the door locked switch. So that is proof or verification to the controls on the machine that the door is locked. Closed, locked, now we can commence with the cycle. If we have trouble with this stuff, it's going to produce separate error codes, and that's what we'll talk about next. But before I get into that, I just want to show you another clip here that Brandy put together for us, one of our team members.
Thanks for
of
the
a
likes. I
3D
appreciate it.
rendering / video of this, so you can kind of see behind there what's going on. So you can see the handle after we remove like the catch and stuff, like what that's doing. So we're hitting that lever for the door closed portion, and then the solenoid actuates, shoots across and locks, and then that makes that top switch the locked switch. So I can't do it much better even in real life than what you just saw right there. So just to fortify, so again, giving you the skill set to diagnose, let's just do another breakdown of these parts. There's the handle, the magnet on the actual door ring itself, the magnetic reed switch, which is a closed switch, and then the what we used to call the handle switch, now we just call it the door closed switch. So those two switches basically are in series, proving that the door is closed. Then the lock unlock solenoid does its job. Either at the start it locks or at the end it unlocks, and that actuates or unactuates, so to speak, the door lock switch, and that's your locking pin that does the mechanical action. So let's look at error codes on this. The first one we looked at was a common one that, or at least it was common amongst our audience here today, EDL door lock error. So I have to talk, this is current production. I'm just going to populate these real quick. Look at, there's an EDL1, EDL2. Previous design machines to 2018, we only had an EDL error that was in reference to the door locking actuation and the door locked switch on the top. So if it didn't lock at the start, we got an EDL. If it came unlocked during the cycle, we got an EDL. If it did not unlock at the end, we got an EDL. So if we've got the previous design machine, it's the same door lock, we just added some error codes. We have to be mindful of where we're at in the cycle. If someone just starts the machine and EDL comes up after they press start, then either the pin didn't go across, like the solenoid didn't do its job, or the lock switch itself or the wires to it have an issue. So at the end of the cycle, same thing. If we're at the end and the machine's supposed to unlock and it doesn't, it will produce just the standard EDL code. But moving forward from 2018, we have these two error codes. An EDL1 is, that the door failed to lock at the start. EDL2 means it failed to unlock at the end. But again, and I'm slapping my desk, begging for ears right now.
I can hear it.
I'm just I'm tired. Okay. I want people to understand this more than anything. EDL, the Genesis, is only the locked portion, the solenoid going across and the switch above it. That's all that pertains to. There's a fourth error code I'm going to put up here. It says E door, or in previous design, just door. That's more in relation to, like, if your user satisfied the vend and the door was open and they press start, it's going to display DOOR, like, hey, close the door. That should be intuitive enough to get us there. But that's going to relate to the door closed circuit more than it would be the door lock circuit. So just look at these in different aspects. We also, I just want to remind you too, we looked in the PM portion of this webinar today where I adjusted the door to make sure that that pin lined up perfectly. So things to think about. The door lock is the most important safety feature on the machine, and that's why we spend that much time on it. Closing up my portion of the webinar, minus the question and answer towards the end here. Just looking at some sample inverter drive errors. Remember I said like, hey, this inverter does more than just run the motor. It can look to see if it's running the motor, if the motor is good, if there's a mechanical problem, if power coming in is a problem. So look at this first error code, ED21, error drive 21. Ready? Laundry dorkiness time here. Over voltage DC bus error. Basically what this means is the description says there could be a voltage supply problem within the facility. Meaning, hey, is the breaker like half tripped? Did we lose a leg outside coming into the building? Rather than the machine running in an unsafe condition like that, it's not going to run. It's going to say, this isn't good. I'm going to do damage to myself if I run. I'm going to display this error code for us. There's 2 additional error codes I threw up here just for reference, ED22, error drive 22, or ED25, both talking about temp errors. If we have restriction in movement, something's binding, or we didn't clean the lint off our fan or off our motor after a couple years and the motor's starting to get hot, this will produce error codes at the front end control for us to interpret. I find the error codes in the programming manual to my specific model machine. I hope that's clear. Again, there are more error codes. We could spend a whole 90 minutes just doing error codes, but you're not going to remember any of that. What I want you to remember is how machines function and where to get that information from. So, awesome. Dustin, it's on you, brother. You got a little bonus materials for these people?
All right. So, just in case you weren't on any of our previous webinars, we do have a public-facing documentation website called alliancedoc.net. This is your one-stop shop for all public-facing materials regarding different models that we have manufactured for many decades. You can search for your model. Notice that suggested models numbers will automatically populate. Once you click on the one that you are looking for, you will then be able to choose the language that you would like the documents in, and it will provide all of the documents that are available in that language. You can download these by right-clicking them and clicking Save Link As, or you can just click them and they will be easily accessible to you via the web browser. So
just
super awesome.
This is where I got the PM guide today. This is where I pulled it from.
Yep, alliancedoc.net.
No www.
All right, so that's a little speed queen for you. Let me see here. All right, any questions you guys had on Speed Queen information? All right, so he was talking about Rhythma. All right, I do appreciate you guys for all coming on in. I don't think we have time to do another one. I could do more videos like this on dishwashers. I have at least 2 more on Speed Queen that I could show you. It all depends on what you guys are interested in. Let me show you where this is. There it is. All right. Oh, sure. No problem, brother. No problem. So this is the Speed Queen site. All their training and stuff is in there. It's a little, I gave you guys the link. Let me try to redo it, make it a clickable link. It is not very easy to find. I knew it was in there because I actually attended these when they were live, and they were doing one at least once a month, and I would actually attend those damn things. Let me see if I can give you guys a link. There we go. So that should be, oh, what the hell that is. I don't know what the hell that is. Let me see if I can get this link going. And I'm sorry to all you guys on Instagram. I am so sorry. You can probably catch this on a replay. But this is the Speed Queen unit. Let me show you what the that's not for this one. This is for the larger ones. Hold on. For these units, the much larger ones. The hard mount. What you actually saw was the hard mount class. And it's very difficult for me to find the prices on a new one. They keep those really guarded to the chest. As you can see, this one says 16 grand. It is extremely difficult to find out what the prices are. And they do vary. They vary a lot. So you see here, it says 16 grand. And it is going to vary. The prices are going to vary a lot because they don't publish their prices. So the average person is not going to know. The only way you're going to know is if you were a dealer. See, like this is a used one. They're selling it for almost 15 grand. So that kind of thing. But this company is actually selling them. Yeah, Greg B. Greg. Hey man, I ain't seen, man. You've been hiding out in the chat. I'm glad this is something that you could get into. I appreciate that. So yeah, this one, I don't know what country this is, if they're even in the United States or not, but yeah, this is about right, about 16 grand or so. Okay, it is shipping in the United States. Let me see what else they got. It looks like they're trying to, if it's Sam stores, more than likely, and it's 847, which is Chicago. They got this stuff set up to ship to the military, and they have this stuff set up to ship worldwide because everybody else outside the US is using 220 volts. Let me see what I can find. Washers. There we go. Let's see if I can find that. But that's why I'm able to find this, because they're more than likely selling to military contractors and things like that. That's all right. I'm not going to waste your time, but it is. Let me see if this link is going to work. No, that link don't work. Hold on one second. Let me get this link for you. I'm gonna give you this link. You don't actually have to catch the replay. You don't actually have to catch the replay. What you need is this. Hold on one second. I had to go somewhere else to get it. I couldn't show this earlier because it kept knocking me out. It would cancel my video. So like I said before, this was initially from 2020. This was the training here. I'm going to put it back in the link. So what you do is you just click on the link that says register. What you just witnessed was the hard mount washer service training. That's what you just saw. They have one for dryers, and then they have the top loads. Right? So these were the guys here. She talks in the back of some of the videos. She was actually in the office. And these two guys, I think they were actually working from home. Hold on. Let me go back into the chat. Let me give you guys the link. So this is the link to where I am right now. Let me show you what it looks like. So we're going to pick the dryers. It takes you to the whole webinar thing. I just couldn't show the video with the StreamYard. I'm thinking about going over to another program called OBS because I want to use my other stuff. Sound. I want to use the sound bites and all this kind of stuff. So here it is. so what you do is you just fill out your information. This just registers in this system that someone watched the video, and they go from there. So you can put in any number of things. I could just say a. I hate to give you guys these damn cheat codes, but nobody's gonna come after you if you, I'll say Tennessee. And you can do this, and it's just gonna pass you right on over to the link. It's gonna and then you can hit register, and then the video is gonna pop up. You guys won't be able to see it because it's gonna pop up on this is the go-to video is gonna pop up on another browser, and it won't let me do it. But there you go. All right. Well, hopefully this helps some of you guys out. Like I said, this was all about them. So I guess I'll catch you guys either later on or I'll catch you tomorrow. But I feel bad about the really bad video I did yesterday. I feel bad about that. So I had to give you guys a little something. All right, man. All right, Donnie. All right, catch you guys later. Let me see what I got here with music.
Fair use is a legal doctrine that promotes freedom of expression by permitting the unlicensed use of copyright-protected works in certain circumstances. Section 107 of the Copyright Act provides the statutory framework for determining whether something is a fair use and identifies certain types of uses, such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research, as examples of activities that may qualify as fair use. Section 107 calls for consideration of the following 4 factors in evaluating a question of fair use: amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. Under this factor, courts look at both the quantity and quality of the copyrighted material that was used. If the use includes a large portion of the copyrighted work, fair use is less likely to be found. If the use employs only a small amount of copyrighted material, fair use is more likely. That said, some courts have found use of an entire work to be fair under certain circumstances. And in other contexts, using even a small amount of a copyrighted work was determined not to be fair because the selection was an important part, or the heart, of the work.
We are same, but different, but still same.